Peace, what's good? My name is K Love. I'm a Bronx-born artist, screen printer, educator, and as I call myself, Bronx Defender. I locally screen print. I do a lot of murals and stuff like that. You can find me on www.klovebx.com and on my Instagram at klovebx.
Ready to get deep? First question is going to be, how do you want other people to see you? And is it different than how they think they see you?
How do I want people to see me? I want them to see me the way they want to see me. I guess, it's like everyone has their own perception of people and even themselves, so it's totally up to them because I know who I am, and I know the way I live. I know, what my moral compass is. I know what I do. So when a person interacts with me or they see me from a distance, it's whatever they see by interacting with me or whatever's put online. Like I said, everyone has their own perception. Like I'm someone different to everyone that I meet. And everyone who sees me online through my work, they all have different views of me. Than people who know me. Even some people who know me have different views of me. It all varies. It's all up to a person's perception and how you interact with those people.
Next question is going to be, what are the first signs that your mental health is suffering?
When you start feeling a little detached, when the things that often brought you joy are not bringing you that joy as much as it used to, when you feel lethargic, a little bit exhausted, even though I think our people were used to feeling exhausted and doing the struggle and stuff like that. So to us, it's just part of everyday life. And when you stop hearing that inner voice of yours that you usually hear, yeah, that's when, especially the detachment part of detaching yourself from things that you're used to doing or from people and things that just brought you joy. Yeah.
Do you feel like detachment sometimes could be just a break, or is it a significant or different type of detachment that you're referring to?
Detachment can mean different things, right? It can mean a break from things that you do, from people, or it's like taking a step back, or it's just like that, taking that little subtle step back and reflecting, and seeing things for what they are or in different perspectives than what you're used to seeing them. But yeah, you always have to kind of like just detach yourself, right? From the moment sometimes, in order for you to see, what you couldn't see before.
Next question is going to be, what is something you feel really guilty about?
Guilt, right? Guilt. Being born and raised a Catholic man, guilt is part of life, right? It was part of school, Catholic school, church, indoctrination. So what I feel the most guilty about, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't feel guilty about stuff, right? Like I could maybe look back at my past when I was a younger kid, or a teen, and doing the silly teen stuff that we all used to do, but I don't feel guilty. I don't see myself in that way that I want to hold on to guilt. You know what I'm saying? Because especially if I did something like years ago, like everyone has karma, right? Karma is good, bad. Karma is really just a cycle of things coming back to you, right? But if you hold on to guilt, man, you can't move forward and you can't move past things and you can't grow. So I don't really feel guilty about anything. Maybe just one thing I regret in elementary school. No, it wasn't elementary school. It was high school, man. I will tell the story. Okay. High School of Art and Design, infamous graffiti art high school. I attended there from 89 to 1993. We had a substitute teacher in one of my art classes, and she was just annoying. I don't know. She was just annoying, and everybody was cracking jokes about her. And that day in school, they gave out like condoms and lube and a whole bunch. They had this whole sex education thing. So I had a packet of lube, and when she stepped away from the desk, I had cut it open and I put it on the seat. So when she sat on it, it like exploded and it was all over her skirt. And like and I felt afterwards, like I felt really bad. Like everybody started laughing, like she sat down and she was like, oh my God. And her skirt was all wet, with lube and stuff like that. Yeah. So that is something that I definitely regret. And I probably most likely got paid back for in some form or fashion, when I go and think about it. But yeah, that's something I regret doing as a young kid. But other than that, like, I don't hold on to guilt. I felt guilty about that as a young kid, but I grew up out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the person who I am. That was a young kid. I fell into peer pressure at that moment, and I was in that moment at that time. So I can't go back. But yeah, I'm sorry I forgot the teacher's name. I'm publicly apologizing to you.
What do you think is something about you that needs to change, but you haven't taken action on it yet?
I'm currently taking action on things that I felt like I needed to change and didn't change. So I'm actually going through that right now. And it's the pouring of my cup into other people's cups, and like leaving myself like shout out to Bronx River Lines, by the way.
Nice.
Shout out to Bronx River Lines. And then I'm like left thirsty, you know what I'm saying? And also knowing whose cups to fill, because not everyone deserves a drink from your cup. So people are thirst buckets, in other forms and fashions. But yeah.
In what ways are you like your parents? Good and bad, please.
Okay, what ways? So my parents are Boricua. They came to this country. They got married here, and so I'm first generation Boricua, Bronx Boricua. My dad had one job his whole entire life. So when he came to this country, I believe he had like a 8th grade education or 7th grade education, and he started working at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel at the age of like 16 or 17. His whole entire life. He retired like when he was 72. So he showed me about working hard, having a good work ethic, and just always to strive for what you want, despite the obstacles. Here's a Boricua man, that came to this country to provide for his family from Puerto Rico, that all came over and that were scattered around in the Bronx. And he worked hard. And then when he married my mom, his whole life was like just working hard and saving. Like he told me, he was like, when he was younger at the hotel, that he used to save 25% of each check. And I was like, wow, Papi. And he was like, yeah. He goes, let me tell you, I might talk in his accent. So he goes, let me tell you, he goes, everybody thought I was crazy, that I was taking out 25% of each check. And he goes, but look, he goes, now I'm retired. I bought a condo in cash. He bought himself a freaking Camaro, you know, and he provided for us growing up, you know. He worked a lot of long hours. Like my dad was a good provider. And this is a good and bad thing, right? Worked hard, provided, but like he worked so many long hours that the father part of him we missed and we lacked out on. You know what I'm saying? Like him coming to my games or him going to the movies with us because he was always working. Like this man worked like maybe 14-hour days. He was a waiter at the Waldorf, so he did banquets. He did all these things. He used to come home at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So his focus on working so hard and getting that overtime took away some parts of his family, right? Like watching me at games or watching my sister at games, taking us to the park or playing ball with me outside, taking my mom out, you know what I'm saying? Taking her out to a club and stuff like that, that romance part of being a husband. But that was what our people were used to doing when they came here, you know, from PR. So it was that strong work ethic, but then also like that lack, you know, because we're so used to picking up ourselves from our bootstraps, right? That whole, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt that said that. So that's the good and the bad that I got. And then from my mom, she came here at an early age. She met my dad. She didn't find out he was like 10 years older than her until they went to get their marriage certificate. And she always was the I got the food on the table when you came home from work. He got served first. Her hopes and her dreams of continuing higher education, because my mom went to Washington Urban High School, was an international business school in the Lower East Side back in the days. It was an all-girls school. She had a bank, a job at a bank. She was very independent. But then when she got married, you know, old school Boricua from back in the days, like they used to go on dates and then she used to be chaperone and stuff. She got into that. I got to serve my husband first, you know, the kids come first. So it took away her independence. She always wanted to be a mom, but like her identity of who she was before she married my dad, she kind of lost it. And she fell into that, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. My dad didn't want her to go to school. He didn't want her to have a job. So she didn't for a while, but then she was like, you know what? I gotta continue my education. I gotta work. I gotta get a job. So she did. So from her tenacity, her resiliency, I got from her. And her wanting to pursue higher education no matter what my dad said and to get a job, and her tenacity, it's a good thing that I got from her as well. But it saddened me to see how like she used to fall back, you know, because my mom was like, she was my first love, you know, I was her daughter, you know, so when you come out, who's the first person you see? Your mom, right? So just to see what our women in our culture go through because of the whole machismo thing, how they lose their power and stuff, it's kind of sad. But through her, I feel like I gained my power, right? Once I saw her doing what she needed to do, she raised 3 girls. She continued to work. She did a whole bunch of things she didn't think that she could do, and she did it anyways.
Amen. Shout out to your parents.
Hey, shout out. Thank you.
The last question I'm going to ask you is, what has been your happiest moment in life so far?
It's like you think you know sometimes, and then it changes over time. Like you know, 1 year could be like, this was my happiest moment, and then next, you know, following years, something else trumps that moment. What has been my happiest moment? Maybe for myself, it's a gaining of my independence as as an artist, and I guess no longer working for the man or within the system in a sense. I dedicated my life for over 25 plus years as a civil servant, and it's crazy because it's a sad moment, but then that one of the happiest moments, right? Because my hand was forced. I made a decision to walk away from a city job after a couple of years because they wanted to transfer me to Staten Island. I wasn't trying to go. Like, my heart has always been working in the Bronx, and I dedicated alone in the Bronx, just in the Bronx, but with the city parks, 17 years. And I didn't see any other community but the Bronx, right? And that's the community that I wanted to uplift. I'm born and bred here, planning on staying here for the rest of my life if I have to. But that decision for me to say, nah, I'm not going to Staten Island. No matter if there's a community that looks like me in certain little pockets out there, because they try to bribe me. They were like, oh, your people out there too. And I was like, that's not the Bronx. I don't see myself driving 2 hours to Staten Island when I'm right here, So that decision was one of the happiest decisions in my life thus far. Me saying no, me taking a break on myself and taking a chance on myself. It was a little scary. I'm not gonna front, because I'm leaving security behind. I'm leaving. Well, I didn't leave a pension behind because I'm invested, thankfully. But I'm leaving a 6-figure job. I'm leaving that security, right? Where they say security of having that constant check going, but then also at the same time, it was very uplifting for me because now I'm my own boss. I set my own hours. I'm fulfilling my dream, not someone else's dream, and I don't have to do the yes sir, because when you work for a government entity in a city agency, it's totally different, right, than working in a corporate job or anything else, right? Because now you're kind of aligned to the politics of that agency and stuff like that. And we have a saying in Spanish, que yo no tengo pelo en mi lengua, and that's the type of person that I am. I don't have hair on my tongue. So I like to align myself with things that are part of my beliefs, that are part of my moral compass, that, I'm not, like, I'm a vegan, right? So I'm not going to work for a butcher, and I'm all about the people. So
no, amen to that. I know that feeling, and congratulations to you. It's not easy, but there's just a relief. It's like you're getting your own freedom. You're making your own freedom. So yeah, awesome. If you wouldn't mind just promoting yourself one more time, where we can find you, and then if you can please give us a closing thought, something that we can walk away from this interview with, please.
Sure. So once again, my name is Karen Kayla Pedrosa. I'm a graffiti artist, muralist, street artist, screen printer, and Bronx defender. You can find my work at www.klovebx.com and also at Instagram, klovebx. Hit me up if you have any screen printing needs. I can help you out with your brand. I like to work with local people. And if there was one thing I want to leave you guys with, is always be yourself. Stay true to yourself. Be authentic. Don't let anyone else's perception of you intimidate you or make you feel less than. And believe in yourself, Believe in yourself. And always know that people love you, that there's people around you that love you, friends that love you, family that loves you, God loves you, all these higher beings love you. And yeah, just believe in yourself and just stay true to yourself. Just stay true to yourself no matter what. You are who you are, be who you be, and that's what you could be.